that aren't going to be able to make it today for the meeting. So, but as I was just saying, got to for this meeting have a mix of folks, some MAAP volunteers that have been doing this for a while, like Dean and Pete, and some new folks like Tom and Olivia. And Dean and Pete, if you all feel comfortable, and would also include Beth in this, might schedule some times for you to meet with individuals who have questions about things, if that'd be all right. I know you've done that in the past
Okay.
before, Dean, and that was great. So, um, but what we're going to do today is we are starting on a new project that I think will go pretty quickly. These are units from the 1990s that need to be digitized, and there's a lot less data for these units. The stratiform was much smaller, and the amount of photos, fortunately for processing, is less, which is good for that, but unfortunately is not good for site context because this was in the days of pre-digital and film, I guess, was more expensive, but I don't know. I think there was just a different attitude here towards documenting things because they had to pay for the film to be developed, which I never had when I worked for the Park Service or in Jamaica. So I don't know why it was a problem here. Um, but there's fortunately a lot of plan views and profile drawings that were done. So that kind of makes up for the lack of photos. And that's what I was going to have us start with is the plan view and photos for these units and or the plan views and the profiles for these units. So I will go ahead and share a screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be working from the relabeling guide that I'm going to put this into the chat. And this is what we're using as kind of like the hub for all of the work that we're doing is a Google Doc, which isn't the greatest, but it's just the easiest to work with. Um, and so this document has the links for all of the of what we're doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share screens right now and go to that document, and I'm going to use screen two. And so you should be able to see screen two right now. Can you all see that?
Uh, yes.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to make y'all a little bit bigger over here if I can. There we go. So I'm going to have y'all on my right screen, and then on my left screen, I'm going to have the this document. And I'm assuming you all can still see the screen right here with the Google Doc.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So what the where we're going to be working from is the area that is our units that were by the temple, and I've got in this document everything that's in blue is a hyperlink, and you can click on it. So the maps for the 1990s units, when I click on that, that brings up a unit map of the area of the temple, and then these units in here around the temple that are black outline but no green, most of these are these old units from the 1990s, like MT 56, 58, MT 60. And then there's other ones down here like MT 120, MT 125, MT 124. And then there are these really bizarre ones like BI 1, BI 2, BC 1. And these alphanumeric designations um, are are I don't quite understand what how they did these, but I think there are base maps that show there being some sort of quadrant system they used across the site to label these. So there's MT numbers, and then there's these alphanumerics, and so they're going to be treated basically the same as unit numbers, but they'll get some different designations for how we label the paperwork. So when you go back to the this uh, uh, the this guide for relabeling files, we also have the site report for the temple, and this was written. I don't know if any of you all remember Eric Schweikert. He was here in 2015. So it might have been before your all's time, right before you came on, Dean.
Hmm.
Um, but Eric is now the senior archaeologist over at Colonial Williamsburg and is kind of second in command there. So, but he did this amazing report summarizing all of these excavations in the 1990s. And there's Scott Parker waving or not waving at the temple sometime in the 1990s. I think this is in 97 because he has his Toyota pickup there. And then here's this site map that we brought into GIS with all of these designations here. And in this report, there's some photos. Eric divided up this into, the various strata that were found and some of the features. So it's kind of a good one to go over that goes over the excavations that happened and why they happened. And it's a fairly short report. This one is only about 96 pages long. So, but really the nuts and bolts of this one and uh, probably, let's see. Yeah, this one ends at page 21. So pages 1 through 21 are the bulk of the report, and then the rest are appendices of site strata. And Eric was just awesome how he did this. He took this legacy data and brought it to life. And what I'm excited about what you all are going to do is you all are going to make all the granular data that we need for doing the excavations over the next year in 2026 available in the field at any time. So if we come across one of these units, we'll be able to click on the site map, this one right here. So for MT56 right now, we've got to go into the Google Drive and do a search, and this data is in like 3 different folders, and it's just a nightmare to try to find. But you'll be able to click on MT56 and then go to one folder that has all the strata cards, the plan views, the profiles, the photos, and I want to put any field notes in there as well. And we'll get to that in a bit. But one of the first steps that we want to do is to get all of the unit data for each of these units into one single folder. And so if you go to the relabeling document right here, I've got uh, let's see, I've got a folder that contains all the units, and that's this one right here. And this is where everything is going to end up. And right now, the only thing that's in these is the stratum cards. And then in some cases, let me see if there's any ones with photos. Yeah, some of these do have photos, but a lot of them don't have photos. Well, we've got the stratum cards for these, and I'll go into, and then after we get the profiles and plan views relabeled, I'll go into how these are going to be relabeled. These are going to be basically relabeled the way we've done all the other ones. This one would be bi1.a.ca. And then if there are cards that have a front and a back, like bi1b has a front and a back, and this will be labeled bi1.b.ca1, bi1.b.ca2. But I'll get into that later. What I want to do first is
It
show
looks like
you
those are JPGs there,
these are JPEGs. Yeah. And these were
JPEGs rather than normally these kind of docs would be PDFs, right?
Yeah, this is all from the fire recovery team. So these are all
Oh.
strata cards that were scanned by the fire remediation team
Hmm.
after we extracted all the paperwork out of the burnt office. And so some of these you can actually see black and scorch marks on the cards. So gives a history of the fire. Very dramatic. But these were all in one massive PDF that had like 1,000 pages. So basically, what I did is I just extracted it as JPEGs, and then these pages are numbered North Yard units, page 27, 28, 29, and it kept the sequential order, which will be good for knowing which back of which card is associated with
Mm.
the front of each card. But again, don't worry about this just yet. What I want to get to first is relabeling the files that are in these two folders right here, Ironworks 95 and then Temple Units Excavations. So when we go to the Ironworks 95, this one contains all of these plan views and profiles. And it's not that many in this one that need to be relabeled. But when you go to this, what you'll see is, these are north wall profile, south wall profiles, for example, for MT 145. And so for this one, there are two profiles. One is for the south wall, one is for the north wall. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to copy this file. So you can either go here and you can, looks like you can't do it here. Where you have to do it is right click and you can make a copy. And when you make a copy, it puts it at the very bottom right here. And then you can rename it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one, move it to trash, but you'll want to make a copy of it. And probably what you'll want to do is rename these first, because then when you make a copy of it, it'll actually have the unit number in it at least, and then you can change, what profile it is. So for labeling these profiles, some of these are profiles. So like this one is a profile. A profile, as you all know, that's the drawing of the wall of a unit. And then that this one's a profile, and you can see that it says like MT41 profile east wall. So what you have to do is you have to look at these drawings. So like this one says MT41 profile east wall, and then down here there's MT140 profile of east wall. So this actually has two different units in it. So so you'd want to make two copies and just label one of them MT140 east wall, and then the other one MT141 east wall. So and then some of the other ones that we've got, let's see, these are more profiles right here. In this case, MT149 west wall and then MT151 west wall. So that's another profile. Here's another profile. These are singular ones, so you wouldn't need to make copies of these. Another singular profile. So another one that has two profiles. One is upside down. I'll need to rotate that later. Um, this one has a profile that's crossed out. Looks like you don't need to worry about that one, but this profile is the important one. And I'm looking for a plan view. Okay. Oh, here's a plan view. So here is a plan view, which is MT 154, and this is bottom of Y. And what you'll see here is this has a whole bunch of other um, strata in it, everything from 154 TT to 154 VV, WW. And in this case, what you'd want to do is make a list of what strata are shown in this, and then I hate to say it, but make a copy of each one and label each one, because that's going to be really important to, this is one of the few really good documents that show where these strata are and how they appear in the unit. So it seems like overkill to do this, but it's actually really helpful because each one of these strata are going to be digitized and they've got a card, and this plan view will have all that information. And we know this is a plan view because most of them say actual plan view. And sometimes like this one is kind of weird because it almost looks like it could be a profile just because of the linear nature of the strata here. But we know it's a profile because usually they call it a profile. And so that's an example of a profile, or I'm sorry, that's an example of a plan view right there. And then here is a Strata E profile, looks like a feature that was excavated. And then here's a plan view right here. And this one, it looks like there are three strata in here. MT 155, 155, MT 155 F, E, and C. and those are recognized by these shadings. So again, you'd want to make three copies of this, and then it shows this as being the bottom of 154, one or 144.
Right.
And I don't know where that is, where these dashed lines are located. I don't see that. Yeah, see it. This is the
Mm-hmm.
key, and it shows the dashed lines. I don't see anything like that in here. So don't need to worry about that one. Unless it's this up here, which would be bizarre. That wouldn't quite make sense. But anyway, just need to do three copies of this one and then label them. So for labeling
Well, but
these, oh,
even though you're not seeing it, couldn't you just make a copy of that and relabel it since it's listed on there?
yeah, you got a good point, Dean. Since it's listed there,
You know,
go,
because it's there. That's information that's on that
yeah,
card. So if you don't relabel it, then it's gonna be lost in there, isn't it?
it would be. It would be. You're absolutely right. And I would say labeling it MT 144 dot underscore plan view PV would be all you'd need to do that for that one because there's no strata in there. And I'll show you that in a second. But yeah, I agree with you, Dean. Relabeling it because that will, for MT 144, that would have helpful information. And this one has looks like it has this one has two strata, and then this third strata is not designated. And this is okay, this is another example of one of these, Dean. This says MT 154 bottom, MP and middle of N. And
Mm.
this one says the key over here is N and Q.
Mm-hmm.
So M and P. Oh, I see. Yeah. It's the bottom of MMP. So MMP have already been excavated, so they don't show up on this. So you just need to put in NQ and you know, you I think when you get into this, it'll become clearer. And as long as these things get relabeled and put into the folder, and what I'll do is after they're relabeled, I'm gonna move them over to the folders because I want to look at these, and there might be some unit folders I don't have yet because as of yet, I have not found all the strata cards. And so I've only made folders for the ones I've got strata cards for. So this is going to help me know where I need to look for other strata cards in the salad of paperwork that we have in the schooling barn that we recovered from the fire. It's not exactly a salad, but it's just in multiple filing cabinets over there as we extracted it. So I'm going to need to do some footwork on that. So again, do your best on this, and as you have questions that we can address these. But this one has MT135 in it, so I would make a copy and call this one MT135 as well. And I think 135 is an exploratory unit that was excavated. This is a 1 by 1 unit, and then this unit was opened up and included MT135. So it'd be good to have 135 here in case we don't know where 135 is and we know where MT 154 is, we could use this one to locate 135. So, like you're saying, Dean, this has information that's relevant for 135, MT 135.
So,
So,
and where
oh,
I'm just where are we finding these graph paper sheets, and how do we indicate what we're working on at any particular time?
yeah, this is going to be a little bit different, Dean. Is in
Hmm.
these, where you find these is, I'm going to close out of
It says
this.
ironworks. There, ironworks, 1995, and Temple units. Those are the
These are the two folders. Yeah, these
two
two folders
folders.
right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I
uh,
I think what it's going to be is if something's relabeled, you're going to see it's relabeled.
yeah, so
And because
just going
the
to go in there and work on the ones that haven't already been relabeled.
right, exactly. And then once they're
Okay,
relabeled, I'm going to be keeping track and I'll start moving these over to their individual folders. And then
hmm
you'll be able to we'll go to the next stage after that. So for this, what I've done is we've got a relabeling guide that we use for everything, and you can look at that. I think some of y'all have already taken a look at this. This has unit information for uh, or relabeling information for various sets of paperwork that we've got. I'm going to edit this for the 1990s paperwork, though. This is the relabeling guide for the 2016 and 2017 Temple. I need to make a new one once I know what paperwork we have for the 1990s units, and I'll do that over the next day or so. But for this relabeling, I've of these plan views and profiles, these are the only um, designations you need to worry about. Unit floor drawings or plan views, and that gets, the MT, the unit designation, strata if it's present, and then PV for plan view. So, for instance, if we go to unit uh, Ironworks 1995, and we look at this one right here. This one is the one. This is MT 154. And so we would relabel this one MT 154. And then there's a whole bunch of strata in here. So we're going to do dot MM and then dot plan view, because the first is the unit number, the second one is the strata, and then the third is what kind of paperwork it is. And this is a plan view. And we're going to hit OK. But you'll notice that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different strata represented on this.
Mhm.
So what we're going to need to do is go to this one, and we're going to want to make 4 different copies of
Mm.
this. Make a copy, make a copy. And then you'll want to go to this one, double click on it, click up here, and then we're going to call this one MT 154.jj, because that's one of the ones that are represented on this. And
Mhm.
again, you might want to get a piece of paper and write down the strata that are there. There's MM, there's JJ, there's KK, and there's GG, and then go through and just relabel them all. And then as you go, all these odd numbers will disappear and we'll have everything relabeled. So that's an example of a plan view. Now for the profiles, some of these up here, for example, this one right here, this is MT149, and this is the west wall profile. So we'll want to relabel this one MT149. And then since there's no strata in this, that because the wall profile is everything, we always put a dot and an underscore, which shows that this is for the whole unit. And this looks like we're insane, but we're fussy like this because when you index the Google folder, all the plan views and the summary paperwork come first, and then all the individual strata are listed in order with this designation system. So MT149 underscore and then dot, and this is a profile, and this one is the west wall, and then it's a drawing. And again, all this is in the guide for relabeling, and you could just print that Google document out so you have it as a handy reference. And then again, what you never want to do is don't change the uh the the name extension at the end, because that's important. You want to leave that as it is. So we've done this one. This is MT149 West Wall, and then this other one is MT151. So what we'll want to do is make a copy of this, and it looks like you've got a X
Right.
out of this, and then this goes to the bottom. So this is the MT149 plan view. So we'll make a copy of
Mhm.
this, and then there's the copy of it. And so we'll want to zoom into this. This is going to be MT151.
I've got a
There,
thought here when you're done with it.
Sure. Oh, yeah,
Well,
let me
just
relabel this because I
yeah,
can't
just
chew gum and
I don't
walk at
want
the
to.
same time.
Yeah,
One
I don't
MT
want to interrupt it.
151. Oh, it's grayed out up there. It's hard to see. This is where it's good to make a list of this. And it's
Oh,
the this again is the west wall.
okay.
So yeah, MT 151 dot underscore dot plan view plan profile west drawing. So there's that. So these two are relabeled. So what was your thought, Dean?
Well, I was just thinking that if a doc has copy of on it, we that means somebody else has made the copy, and we probably should let them do the relabeling rather than go in there. I mean, we could go in there and relabel it, but I'm wondering if it might be better if you go in and say if it's a plan view and you've made 5 copies to get the number of docs that digital docs that you're going to need, then the person who made those 5 copies maybe should follow through with the actual relabeling of them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, that
If
wouldn't be absolutely, I mean, you could not do it that way, but it just seems like it'd be a good idea to have the person who made the copies um, go ahead and just, finish relabeling all the copies that he or she made.
Right.
absolutely, I'm gonna make a note to myself to finish up MT 154.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
on the guide for the profile wall drawings, after the underscore, there is no dot listed, but you have it in your convention here, which is
Thank
the
you, Tom. Yep. It's it's dot, yeah. And then like that,
right.
right?
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It that doesn't make a huge difference,
Okay,
Tom, but the one thing that we do with the dot is when we after all these are relabeled, we will bring this into these file names in Excel, and then I'll break out using the period as a delimiter in Excel
sure.
these file names into a field for unit, a field for strata, and a field for paperwork type, and that dot allows that to be broken out. So
Okay,
yeah, and I can go through and correct that later if need be. But yeah, so that's the only one that gets funny with this is the the examples of, for example, the when you don't have the MT number, but it's this alphanumeric system.
hmm,
And for example, this one, which is let's click on this one. This one is BI3, and this is a plan view of stratums F and E. And so this one would need to be relabeled instead of MT, because it's not MT,
right.
is BI3 dot E dot
Hmm,
plan view. And so that one is now relabeled. And what I'd want to do is go in and let's see, cancel. I can't make a copy here. Shoot, I shouldn't have done this here. Manage content. Anyways, I'll need to go in where this is. Let me see what folder this is in. This is in Temple Excavations. So let's see, Temple units. Oh Lord, it's lost in here somewhere. So this one is yeah, I don't see it. Actually, that might have been in a different folder, I think. But anyways, no, is this one it?
That's it. Yeah,
So
That's
that's
it.
BI3.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. So I'll make another copy of this one, make a copy. And now since it's C for copy, it's right here.
right.
And then we've already gotten E, but we need F. So we'll relabel this one F plan view.
Right.
And then it's all done. And now we've got 2 copies of this. And what I'm going to do is once all these are named, they'll automatically be organized by unit designation. And then I'm going to use my Google Drive that I've got on my computer that's an actual hard drive, and because and use Windows to scoot these over and organize them into the unit folders. And so once these are all relabeled, then we'll go to the next step, which is actually going to the units and relabeling all the paper files and all the photos that are in each unit. And that'll be set up like we normally have it set up, where there'll be like all these folders that are here, the unit folder. We will have and I'll just do this right now. We'll have a folder for one relabeled, or one complete relabeled. And then new folder two problems relabel. And then as these are labeled, you'll put, as they're finished, you'll put them in complete or put them in the problems folder for me to deal with. But I'll do that the next time we meet, and which might be early next week, because I need some time to get the relabeling guide set up for the 1990s units, and again, probably go to the schooling barn and find all the rest of the paperwork that's still missing for some of these units. Because in looking at this map right here, this map that's right here, the map for the 1990s units, there are units like on this trench right here, MT 60, 61, 62, that I don't have strata cards for. There are profiles and plan views for, but the strata cards are somewhere. And I think these are mixed into strata cards from the South Yard, because if you look at the South Yard, I think there's some MT. Yeah, I think this one is like an MT 60 unit, I think. Like it's the MT 43. There's a couple of early units that are over here that are being excavated at the same time. Let me see. M M MT 60. Oh, that's MT 600. That's weird that it did that. This is okay. I didn't realize this is gonna create problems. Yeah, MT 600. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I will. Yeah, Chris went through and relabeled everything with the MT designation, and that might um I'll need to yeah, this is good to see this happening. I can fix this. I'm going to need to probably make a special map for the 1990s units that is only the 1990s units, and that'll make the searching for these a little bit easier. So I'm going to put this in my notes. Make GIS map for 1990s units. All right, we'll be able to take care of that. So, but anyways, for this, for the up by the temple where we're at, um, there's a whole mix of units in here that I still need to figure out, like 56 and 57. And I think actually some of these overlap with what's in the South Yard, which creates some confusion. So, but anyways, let me see if I can get back to stop share. Does anybody have any questions about this?
Well, is this guide available to us now?
Yeah, this guide is
The
available.
the guide that we've been just working with.
Yeah, that I've put it into the chat,
But
and
we can't really do much with it at this point yet, right? Or can we? Do you
yeah,
want us to,
yeah, you all can start relabeling the plan views and profiles.
like we were making the copies if necessary and just relabel, and the guide for relabeling guide is in there. Just use that,
Yeah, just use
of
this.
course.
So yeah, this might only take you a couple of days, y'all, a couple of days to get done. And then, like I said, next week we'll meet and we'll talk about relabeling all of the unit strata or all the unit paperwork for each of these units, and we'll get into that. But I wanted to have you all start this because there's quite a few plan views and profiles that need to be relabeled, and you all doing this would allow me to work on driving across the property and finding the paperwork, which you all can't do. So, and even if you were here, you wouldn't even know where to begin in the mess that's the schooling barn. So, well, cool. Appreciate you all doing this. And again, if you all have questions, I think all of you all are on Slack now.
Mhm.
And any of you all listening to this who aren't on Slack, let me know and I can make sure you're installed on there. But that's the place to ask questions. And this would all fall under the relabeling channel. So there's a channel for relabeling, and I'll put the link for the relabeling guide for these plan views and profiles there. And you all can go into Slack and find that. But I'll also send an email with a recording of this with the link for the guide as well. And one
Great.
thing that you all should do is make sure that you all are taking or recording your volunteer hours. And so let me make sure that you all have that. Let's see. Oh goodness. Volunteer hours. Um, all right, it's not being helpful. Let me see. This would be uh oh goodness. What would be a an area that we worked on? Southwest Yard. Uh yeah, and guide for digitizing. I think I've got the volunteer hours linked in here. Yeah,
Mhm.
copy, close out on this relabeling guide. And then yeah, remember to fill out your volunteer hours. And for that, just go in here to your volunteer hours and then scroll all the way to the bottom and then put your name in. It looks like all of you all have been doing this. That's awesome. Thanks for doing that. Put in Matt Reeves and then 2000. I won't mess it up like that though. There's a problem. Validation rules. So not allowed to do that. So,
11/6. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that was it.
That's the problem
Yeah.
with today. Yeah.
Future date. Yeah.
Future date. Yeah. So yeah, if you could put your volunteer hours in, this would be really helpful because we'll use this for our grants process for showing how much work we're getting done. So, but yeah, that's all I've got for you all. I'll send the recording of this, and with that, I'll send the link to the relabeling guide for this process.
Great.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you all. Really appreciate the help on this front. We're really excited to get these 90s units into the system because right now it's just impossible to find the data on this stuff. So,
Great. Okay.
all right, you all, and we'll schedule a time next week to talk about the relabeling for these units once they're all organized into one folder.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, you all,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you
All right.
next week. All
Yep.
right. Bye.
Bye.